Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the GAWSY Podcast. My name is Charis Gines. I'm the CEO of GAWSY Magazine, and today I'm joined with.
Charis Gines. Hi, I'm Brielle's sister. I'm currently a student at the University of North Texas studying information science, and I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome, Charis. We're super excited to join together for today's episode of Self Love and Maturing. We're just going to be talking about our experiences just as siblings growing up and how self love pertains to each of it. We thank you guys so much for joining. And without further ado, we are going to introduce our very first question. Question number one is: what do you do to make sure that you stay committed to loving yourself?
Okay, so when I was first reading it, I was like, man, that's a really good question. I don't know. But I was thinking about it, I was like, I check in with myself a lot. I take time to analyze how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling that way, and just continuously working on understanding myself on a deeper level and just staying as true to who I am as possible. Because I mean, the only way to really love myself is to accept myself for who I am. If if you don't accept yourself, how can you possibly love yourself? I feel like that's the first step. So just constantly making sure I know who I am or trying to figure that out and then kind of just going from there, affirmations and stuff like that. Those are always really helpful. Just kind of meditating. I do a lot of meditation, just kind of clearing my mind, easing my anxieties and all stuff like that. So it's kind of what I do. I just kind of keep myself in a good mindset, kind of keep myself positive and up. What about you?
For me, much like yourself, Garris, I check in with myself a lot too, do a lot of that self reflecting, especially in situations where it might like I might like be perplexed about something or I'm not really understanding something. I kind of take a minute to pause, most importantly, because in a lot of ways I never used to do that. I would just go off of what was my first initial reaction, which isn't the very best option, or it shouldn't be your very first resorting to whenever you are faced with adversity in any capacity with friends, with siblings, with any relationship that you come across. So, making sure, that is the one thing that I do regularly to stay committed to loving myself is really checking in. Like, you are your person, you are who you are responsible for every single day. So it's important to check in with yourself and start building consistency around that because it really shapes who you become and how you respond and how you allow things to affect you when you respond to things. We operate in a very control versus non control world, and so we need to make sure that we are staying within the boundary lines of what is in our control and learning how to respond to things that are outside of our control as well too.
Yeah, that's really big. Definitely like what you were saying about the world and how it is today. It's kind of like a lot of things are out of our control. And it's so easy to get caught up in that and to get caught up in other people and their opinions that you kind of lose sight of yourself. And so, if you're not really taking the time to check in with yourself or really understand yourself and how you're feeling, the reason why you do things, the reason why certain things make you feel a certain way, you know, it's hard to love yourself because you're not even thinking of yourself. And how can you love someone you don't think of?
That's true, Kiris. That's true. Our next question is: are there things that you hold on to that no longer serve you? And second question to that is: how can you begin to let them go?
There are definitely some old attachments I have still lingering in my mind or and past wounds that are, in the process of healing, but I just remind myself that it is in the past, and I've gotten past it already. I'm strong enough to get through anything that happens to me at this point. And honestly, it's only a mental block if I allow it to be. I like doing the work. I like the self reflection. I like understanding myself, the things that understanding the things that have made me who I am and why, I may hold on to certain things for longer. Like, I have a big problem with continuing to let people in my life after they cross my boundaries or do things that I'm not really really a fan of, or just personally wouldn't do to them. I That's a big thing for me. Um, I really I really do believe in reciprocity. I don't go looking for it. I'm a giver, so naturally, like, I go out of my way for the people I care about. I do extra things for them. I'm that person. It's like, oh, I saw this at the store and I thought of you, so I bought it and I got it for you. And it's like, at some point, if you're not getting anything back and you're just constantly giving and giving to these people, you're giving yourself away to get nothing in return. So I've learned that emptying my cup to fill others does not serve me at all. Because at the end of the day, I just end up feeling drained, but they're good. And it feels nice in the moment, you know, to give to people when you have nothing and see that smile on their face. But, when it's your turn and things are hard for you and you've got really nobody in your corner, it's kind of like, well, why'd I do all of this? Why'd I give all of this just to, end up in a relationship or surrounded by people who really don't care about me as a person, but they care about what I give to them. So I've had to really work on setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is really hard too. Like, it's one of those things, especially with people now, because some people take boundaries as being rude or just, being sensitive over something. But it's like, I feel like personally, boundaries are a sign of like, hey, I do want you to continue to be in my life, but if you're going to do that, you can't treat me this certain way. You can't talk to me this certain way. Like, you have to respect me. If you're going to be in my life, like, I would like to feel respected as a person. And if you don't respect me, you essentially have no regard for me in my mind. So I feel like that's kind of, I've had to mentally toughen myself a little bit and that aspect. So that's kind of how I've learned to let that go and kind of, that's been my journey with it. I'm still on it for sure because I don't want to just say, oh, forget it. Nobody's good. Nobody's worth it. But just kind of taking it one step at a time. Honestly, that's the best way to begin to let things go. I think I rambled a little too much on that one.
Oh, sis, that was good. That was good. I agree. There has to be like a healthy kind of balance with friendships and relationships to ensure that, one person isn't filling the cup up and not getting anything kind of filled back up with. Because I'm like, you got to be able to, come from something. There has to be like a healthy dynamic with any relationship. And I agree with boundaries. Yes, boundaries are important. And most often, and not what I've discovered, boundaries are usually always rooted in something. They're always coming from a place that is trying to help protect or no longer give strength to in areas of weakness within our lives and our development. So boundaries, it's very important that friends, peers, family understand boundaries because, well, they're rooted in something that we have experienced in a very impactful way. And it kind of needs to be nurtured. Like, we need to be kind of nurtured in the sense of being taken care of and being able to be safe within your presence without it coming off as we're being isolated or standoffish. Like, no, take the time to understand that this is rooted in something that's a little deeper than what might meet the eye. And yeah, answering this question too, the things that I hold on to, yes, I'm trying to like work on, like, it's all some things like I've noticed with me, it's like my mind will always try to take me back to a place and relive and re-experience something, but I'm like, I this happened already. This is done. Like, this doesn't serve me. And this can be like something just so random, like the intrusivity of the mind can very much be um it can hold weight to it if it is not at first essentially stomped out with. So I'm learning to no longer give hold to just things that pop up from the past anymore. And in doing so and letting go, how do I personally let them go? I just try to get rid of them like immediately, like just stopping, like this happened already, or this no longer serves me. This has no purpose here. So that's how, well, those are some of the things that I've hold on to and how I personally let them go.
That's really good, no, that you said that, because the intrusivity of the mind, it's so real. Because, like, your thoughts are just so constant. At least for me, my thoughts are constant. It feels like things are just always popping up in my head. And if you don't stop it immediately, it is easy to fester on it and get focused on it. And then, all of a sudden you're back to where you were a few years ago. And it's like, we're here years later, we need to get into the present. We shouldn't be stuck in the past.
Yeah.
You give so much weight to the past, you forget that you're living in the present, and the present moment is being dimmed by your past, and it's already happened. There's nothing you can do. We can't time travel. We can't go back,
Mm-mm.
no matter how much we may want to. It's just not possible. So it's like the only thing you can really keep doing is nurturing yourself, nurturing your boundaries, keeping those safe. Because if you don't feel safe around the people you're around, like keeping those old attachments, anything like that, then you'll never really feel safe to be yourself. And that's really the whole thing with self love. And I think maturing is realizing that the people you surround yourself with really determine how much you love yourself. And it shows, it's a really good reflection of who you are.
That's real.
And your relationship with yourself is really reflected in your relationship with others and your perceptions of them. So I think that's really important.
Sis, that's true. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Always.
It's real.
So our next question is, what are you grateful for?
Grateful for a lot. First of all, God. Obviously, nothing's possible without Him. I've definitely seen His work in my life. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at, to have accomplished the things that I have. Um, I've I feel like I've been set up to live a pretty good life, and that's all God. It's nothing I could have done. Um, I'm grateful for my family. Obviously, my big sis led me on the pod. I'm glad to be here. You know, um, my friends a lot, because the support that I get from them, and like the encouragement, because as I've been doing a lot of self-reflection over the summer, and that's also why I say it's really important to, you know, be mindful of who you're surrounding yourself with, because I've noticed that my friends are so helpful with keeping me encouraged and uplifted and supported in everything that I do. Like, they encourage me to get better instead of encouraging my worst habits. They encourage me to go to therapy, when I need to journal, to meditate, to do the things, to find God, to read my Bible, like to pray. So it's just kind of a mix of everything. Like, all the people, I'm really grateful that I have surrounded myself with the people that I have, because it's made such a difference in my life. And I cannot stress enough how important the people you surround yourself with is, because you honestly cannot go at life alone. I've tried. I'm sure many of people, I know many of people have tried. And it's just like, we're not meant to do that. We're meant to love others, and to love those around us, and to love, you know, everything that's in the world that is offered to us, like nature and stuff like that. Like, love is so important for life, and that human connection is really important too. So, just, surrounding myself, I'm really grateful to be surrounded by people who want to keep me up, and not people who are pulling me down or want to see me at my worst. I truly believe that everyone in my circle wants to see me succeed and wants to see me win. And it's a really different feeling than when you're surrounded by people who enjoy the worst parts of you, because you can tell and a big difference in how I view myself and how other people view me. Like it's a lot, but it's very obvious, you know, like you can tell. So that's definitely what I'm most grateful for right now.
Charis, that's good. That's good. Friends, good friends are so essential to us. Like surrounding yourself wisely and with people who can encourage and uplift you is super, super important. What I'm grateful for is God. And a little backstory. Last summer around this time, I was pretty much churched out. I was kind of done. Christianity and we just weren't friends.
I remember
I was
that.
done. I was done. I was done. I was done. But speaking about friends again, my really good friend Kristen, this was going into second semester of this past or earlier this year. She was telling me about like this God encounter that she had with a Christian organization. And I was just like, you know what, if you can have that experience, then you know what, I'm just gonna join your Christian organization and just go and do what you do and all that fun stuff. And I remember the very first night we had the Bible study for that semester. We were kind of just going around sharing about expectations and what would you like God to do for you. And I remember saying that I would like just a 360 experience, a reintroduction to who God is. And a year later, I can testify to that, which has been very tremendous. And I'm just grateful for friends who are able to encourage you and pray for you and really breathe life into you in ways in which were dead, like in your life, or they were rotting. So I'm grateful for friends. I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful to be able to create and encourage other people as well. I had started like a joint account where I just read different exhortations about where what I'm learning within my faith and being able to encourage people has been something that I'm grateful for and something that I hope manifests into something that exalts God and people just come to get to know Him. I'm grateful for every day. I'm grateful for this is random berries. They have been my
Berries.
blackberries, blueberries, and I'm just grateful that also this is my last year of my undergrad. So I'm grateful to be graduating and getting out into the work field, which I'm a little intimidated about just because I don't know. With being like in an education system for a very long time and to now be out of it because I'm not going straight into my master's, it's like, oh wow, life is really hitting me right now. But I know, not hidden, but like it's coming outside of a system. So now I'm going to have to get to know another part of myself post graduation. But I'm just interested to see where it goes. I'm just grateful for life so far and what I've been learning all the way through.
That's good. That's good. No, I think you're gonna be fine. You always figure it out. I mean, look at you run. You're on your own podcast right now. I don't really doubt that you'll be able to find a job that's good for you. You know, it's a right fit. I think you'll thrive. I think it's an environment where you'll thrive. You know, you'll get to be out in the world doing your thing. I don't know. I'm really proud. I. It's an honor to be your sister. I would say,
Thank you, sis.
because you do. I see all the work that you've put in and all the changes you've made, like especially what you were saying, like, and I know your journey with God, it has been helpful for me to watch, even because I think I was in even an even bigger rut, I would say, with God than you were. I was just really, I won't lie, freshman year I just let it go.
Mm,
Let God go. Um did not go to church on campus. Didn't want to. Uh,
that's
that's
real.
that's besides the point. But you know, over the summer, just like doing my reflecting, I was like, man, yeah, I was kind of really living on the edge, but life is better and I feel better and I do better when, you know, I'm in my word, when I'm praying constantly, when I have my faith, when I'm believing. I see things work out for me better. Like I see it happen. I see the changes in my life and who I am as a person. And so, I it's been beneficial, I would say. Like I think you're gonna be good. I think you'll be fine going into it.
Thank you, sis. It's just nice being able to, I don't know, like just take it one step at a time, like we were saying. So I think a little more background. Growing up, like in the church, I was telling my mom about this. I think
Why'd you
our
say my
mom. I'm
mom?
saying my mom.
Jeez.
Our mom. I was telling our mom about this. Like when you're like when you grow up in the church, there's some um believers who like get it, they understand everything all the way through. But that wasn't my experience. Mine's was, kind of being in a not necessarily legalism kind of like flow of church, but like, it's just more of a routine rather than me kind of understanding and meditating on anything. So now at 21 years old, I can kind of sing a new song in the sense of I'm actually understanding and meditating on the word, praying about it, and taking it slow too. Like your relationship with God is on no metric system of time. Like, well, there are certain things that you'll have to do, and as you spiritually develop and grow, God will align some things to come into your path that you have to. But it's all like within His time. It's very different from how we view time. And so I've been taking it slow to make sure that I understand, grabbing the milk before I get the meat. And it's been very beneficial to my relationship in this reintroduction.
No, I get what you mean completely. It's like when you grow up in the church, it's like you're just expected to know God from the moment you're born.
Hmm.
And it's like if you have any questions or if you have any doubts, then you're a lukewarm Christian. And it's like, well, I haven't even gotten the chance to explore anything else, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's like you're not thinking for yourself, you know?
Yes. Just
And
kind
I
of moving
can
obliviously through the faith.
yes, it's like being preached at every Sunday and they're saying these things and quoting the Bible scriptures and I'm like I've never read this passage in the Bible. I've never seen this. Like you're saying all of these things, but I'm 10 years old. I really just want to be eating dinner right now. Like I'm really tired. And
Hmm.
it's like it's such a big difference when you start wanting God for yourself and instead of wanting God because your parents want you to want God.
Yeah.
So I completely understand what you mean with that.
It's real, sis. Real.
Real.
I, our next question is, what do you love and value most about yourself?
I would say my honesty and my character, one, and also the way I love others, like the people in my life. As far as my honesty and my character goes, most most people in my life would say that I'm very honest. I don't typically shy away from giving my opinion on things, regardless of whether people agree or whether sometimes the truth hurts. I can be honest to a fault at times. I've definitely um pushed the boundary with some people on that, which is something I have had to rein in and everything, but I would much rather someone know how I'm feeling than lie to them. Like because relationships are I feel like are built on honesty. If someone doesn't actually know how you're feeling, then it's like the relationship is kind of fake.
Hmm.
And I don't want any superficial relationships in my life, so I make it a point to be honest with all the people in my life, regardless of whether it may be something they want to hear or something they may not have even noticed. I like putting it all out there so that one, it can be talked about and it can be addressed. I like addressing problems when they happen so that way it doesn't happen again. I don't like creating bad patterns in my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, my character, I hold myself to a very high standard, I would say. Um, I try not to take myself too seriously, but I also don't allow certain things in my life. Um, I don't want to be in a position in my life again where I'm being dragged down by the decisions I'm making because of the people around me. Um, or, you know, not being true to myself, because it's not even just being honest with other people, it's also just being honest with myself about who I am. I'm very self aware of who I am as a person, which has taken a lot, honestly. Like it's taken a lot because no one wants to acknowledge the parts of themselves that other people don't really like. You know, you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
accept those, you want to change those. I've definitely tried to change things about myself, and I'm like, I've tried. It doesn't make you go away. It honestly just makes things worse. And so I'm honest with people about who I am from the beginning, so I know that all my friendships are genuine and people like me for exactly who I am. And that's important to me, and that's what matters. Um but also the way I love other people, just like I said earlier, um I love people very deeply and intensely, so I wouldn't say I have too many relationships. I don't have a big circle of people. I wouldn't really say that there are too many people who can even say that they really know me. Um, but when they do, it's like I've been told that a lot of my most of my friends feel very safe around me. They feel safe being themselves around me. They feel comfortable talking to me, coming to me for anything. Like I'm I'm pretty much the secret keeper in most of my friend groups. If anyone has something that they don't think they can tell others, they'll come to me because they know I won't judge them. And they know that, regardless of what they do, I'll tell them my opinion. But I'll also be like, at the end of the day, like, maybe you didn't make the best choice, but I still love you. And you make mistakes, and that's okay. I'm not, my love for people is not conditional, um, is what I've come to learn. So, like, even people that may not be in my life anymore, I still hold love for them. I just don't, my character doesn't allow them to make me feel bad about myself anymore. I don't surround myself with people who make me feel bad. So, if the people around me are making me feel good, I can make them feel even better because I want to. When I'm being uplifted, I want to uplift those around me. I want everyone at my table to eat, but not just eat. I want them to get seconds and thirds. Like, I want to see all of my friends prosper. Like, I pray for every single one of my friends every night, and I call them all out by name, and I pray for their success. I pray for them in school. I pray for their finances. I pray for their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health, like all of that. I pray that they find God and they have a relationship with them and they're strong in him. And I feel like that's so important because the way you love other people is a really big reflection of the love you have for yourself, and just being able to love others and be a safe space for others is really it's really important for me because I know that I haven't always had someone that I felt like I could go talk to when I was down. I haven't always had someone I feel like I could go tell this one thing that I'm like, man, I'm going to get judged so hard by my entire friend group if I tell them this, but this one person's going to be like, "Nah, it's okay. It's okay. It happens." So, that's really important for me. So I would say like my honesty, my character, and really just the way I treat those around me. I would say I try not to be unnecessarily rude. I try to be courteous of other people, even people I don't know. Um, but yeah, I really feel like the way we treat others is really important and really big, and we don't really always know or see the impact we have on other people. in their lives, but they always carry that with them. And I think that's important. I'm always very conscious of that when I'm interacting with people.
Those are all good, Garrett's all good values and traits to have. And I know that the people around you, even if they, like exactly how you said, they don't say it or they don't, um, aren't open or forward with it, that they're able to still take pieces of you with them, just to have. And that's very admirable. For me, what I love and value most about myself, I think I value how self aware I am. It's like taking a little bit to kind of get to a point or like just a place in my life where I have like been able to be like self aware and like enjoy it and learn it. But I'm glad to know um, just a great deal about who I am, what I like, what I don't like, how this impacts me, how this impacts others, and how to be better from it. Self awareness is something that is huge, and people should be aware of who they are. And I'm glad that I'm able to know who I am and how that encompasses everything that I touch, create, do, interact with people, friendships, relationships. And another thing that I love about myself is my ability to innovate and try some things out. Even if they fail, I find something in that I can take and learn from experience and start over again, or pivot to something else and do and invest my time in other places. I like that I'm able to be innovative and try new things and explore and discover and be curious. I think that was something that now, like being older, I was always just very curious when I was younger. Like, what does this do? What does this happen? Like, what happens with this? And it's always nice to be inquisitive about stuff. Which leads me to another thing. I'm very inquisitive. I'm like, I ask questions now because I don't like to not know things, especially like if it's going to be impactful sometime or within the future or now. Like, I like how inquisitive how I can be because it gets me to the root of something, or it helps me or allows me to understand something about someone or a certain circumstance or anything like that. I love that. I like to go deeper with stuff, and that surface level things, they don't invigorate me, like they don't stir up in me, in my mind, about like what it is. Like I like to go deeper and beneath the surface with things because that's what's being drawn out. Going back to my beginning statement, like there's a root to something, to someone, to anything, and I like being able to figure out what that is and understand like my role with things and certain things like that. So I like and enjoy my, I don't know, just zest for life, my zeal, and how I'm able to just, I don't know, just be able to just execute stuff. Like I think about it, plan, process, and then I execute it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I like that I just execute, and I like that I'm self-aware, and I enjoy my creativity, and then also like communing and being around people at certain times. It's just nice to get together, even like in especially in small settings as well as too. Like you were saying, Chris, I don't like much. I share your same sentiment in not having like a big friend group because I believe in quality over quantity. You know, who you have around is good, and if it's small, then that's perfectly fine. Like that is okay because I don't know, it's just very intimate in a very different way in which you've exchanged your soul with every single person that you are in a friendship with, as opposed to exchanging souls with maybe two to three people in a big friend group, and there's still a stranger kind of dynamic between other people, you know? Like, yes, being able to just connect with people is something that I love about myself because it's always interesting to learn, I think, the facets of who someone is, why they think this way, why they do this. Which sometimes is why I get disconnected sometimes, y'all. Like I'm not gonna lie. When like I can't, I guess, see or exchange souls with somebody, especially like if they're around, because like I don't know. I have to go deeper with stuff. Like I'm just a deep person. Like I have to understand and know like who you are, what like does this or brings us, or sometimes I can find myself disconnected. So when like in a lot of ways I'm kind of trying to learn to be okay with what I see, but I don't know. Sometimes I would like to know more and go deeper. So those are some of the things that I love and value about myself. My zest and zeal, innovation and execution, and being self-aware.
Those are all good. Going back to what you just said though, like the wanting to like have deeper relationships and just like when it's not there, like looking for that soul connection. Like you said, soul connection. Literally, I was thinking in my head about 30 seconds before you said it. I was like, I feel like I really just seek out a lot of soul connections. Like,
Hmm.
yes, I find my people, but a lot of the time I don't really even remember how I've met the people I become friends with. It's just kind of like one day you weren't there, then the next you were there, and I'm like, man, we just really clicked. We just really connected. It took nothing. You just get me, I get you, and we can have those conversations. Like, it's so important to find people who speak to your soul because your
Hmm.
soul is eternal, you
Yeah.
know? So I want people who feed my soul and who feed my spirit. I don't want anybody in my life who dampens that. And so I get your point with like not, consistently keeping people who can't make that connection. And it's like, yeah, it's okay if things just remain on the surface, but it's like I won't put as much energy into that
Hmm.
because personally, I just need more from my relationships, and that's okay.
Yes. Literally, that is literally that. I need just a little bit more. I like that point, sis. About our souls really are eternal. Like they really are. Like our bodies, are a byproduct of genetics, and but our soul, that's what lives forever. So our next question is, what has stopped you from forming a healthy relationship with yourself in the past?
That's a good one. I would definitely say outside opinions, but along with that, my vices. It's very easy for me to get into things. Like it's very easy for me to form habits for like a quick dopamine and serotonin boost that just kind of like make me feel good in the moment. But then, maybe a few hours later, I don't really feel so good anymore. So I got to do it again. And just like kind of falling into bad habits, has stopped me from forming a healthy relationship with myself just because I wasn't really letting myself be myself naturally, like how I am. Um, but also outside opinions, I've always kind of been someone who took criticism very personally and who took other people's opinions of me very personally. Like, still to this day, I don't really like the idea of being perceived. Like the thought that other people
Hmm.
are out there just having their own opinions of me is really weird. I don't know. I don't really like it, but I can't control it, and I'm okay with that now. Um, but it definitely hasn't always been something that I've been able to deal with. I feel like I've hid myself a lot and I've dimmed myself and kind of brought down my energy in fear of like being too much or coming off too much of a certain way. But I'm kind of just like over that now because if I'm lying to everybody else about who I am, then I'm just lying to myself.
Hmm.
And what's the point of living a lie? You know, there's 8 billion people in the world now. I'm sure there's a few people out there who are gonna like me for the person that I am.
Period.
And if maybe they weren't in my hometown, well, guess what? I'm not in my hometown anymore. And I found my people. How crazy is that? That, maybe sometimes it just takes a change of scenery.
I agree. Changing the scenery up is good. Like you need to be able to go and explore and experience other things, other people, gaining different perspectives, learning about um facets of people and cultures. Like you gotta sometimes like if you stay in a place too long, that will be all you know, and that's what you think that you will have to be. So like you gotta get out. Sometimes you gotta get out.
That's what I've never wanted to happen to me. I've seen what stagnance can do to someone's life, and I've just never wanted it. I've never wanted that. I don't want to be so confined to a certain place or a set of ideals or a set of opinions from other people that I feel like I have to conform to that box because that's where I'm at. I want to be myself no matter where I'm at. I don't want to have to be like other people to be okay in a space. And I just don't ever want to feel stuck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you sit for too long, you get stuck.
That's true.
So just kind of like what you said, I think we were really lucky to grow up being able to go on vacations and like see as much of the world as we have because that
Mm-hmm.
has been really monumental for me. Like it's really shaped my perspective of the world and people. Um, and so I think it's really important to study different cultures, you know, study different countries, visit, understand the customs, the traditions, understand why we are all so different from each other and appreciate those differences because those differences are what make all of us our individual selves, I think. So I feel like those are all something that should be celebrated. I don't really know how I got to that point though. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That was a good point. Being able to like yes, very, very blessed to travel and to have those experiences of being able to explore culturally has been a tremendous blessing for each of our lives. For me, for you, for Zarin as well. Zarin's our brother. Shout out to him.
I
Um,
love you much.
yes, like just growing up blessed and having parents who advocate for us to travel and to go to colleges in different states has been great, and to work and live outside of like our hometown, and we were even seeing like with our own parents and them. So little background story: our parents moved, well, we moved, all moved to Florida about a
Last
year
year.
ago. Yeah, last year, and like see our parents do it. I don't know, it just you see the advocacy and the blessing in everything. And going back to the original question, what has stopped you from forming a healthy relationship with yourself in the past? I think for me it has been setting unrealistic expectations for myself and being expected to carry them out when they're all stemming from me. And it's like, for what? Like, what am I setting this standard so high for? Like, this makes no sense. Where when I've only met myself where I'm at this time, I've not met another component or piece of myself. So I don't need to set these unrealistic expectations. Like, for what? Who is this for? Like, so I feel like in a lot of ways that has stopped me a lot in the past because I feel like I've had to put on a representative of who I think or feel I ought to be when no, I'm just Brielle at the end of the day when I go to sleep and at bed
Yeah.
at night, and I don't have to perform for anybody, especially performing vicariously, trying through them. Like they're still there, like people are still people at the end of the day, no matter how we present ourselves on social media or how many things that we lead or own and stuff like that. Like it's just it's just sometimes for me it's just been unrealistic, and so I think that has stopped me in the past from forming a healthy relationship with myself, and trying to overcompensate has stopped me from forming a healthy relationship. Trying to take on the name or the face of, because this is me, this is how I present myself, this is how people perceive me. So obviously I have to be this um, puppet for people, for lack of better words. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't need to do this. This isn't healthy for me. This is not how I get to know myself. This is how I get to know myself through somebody else, but it's not for me. And so now I'm in a place where I perform. Well, not I don't like to say perform per se, but I'm at a place where I can live um, through who God has called me to be, most importantly, and me being able to see why He has created me to be this way without having to put on representative badges or um, putting on representative badges or representative states that people might perceive or think of me to be. But as you were saying, Chris, on our last point, like, and I share like the same sentiment. Only a few people can really say that they actually know me, like, and that's it. So I just no longer want to be perceived, because perceptions often come with expectations, and when you fall short of those expectations by human standards, then you're no longer who they thought you were. But it's like, I was never yours to begin with, so I can't really, I'm not going to do
Snaps. That's so
that.
insensitive.
I'm not going to live and perform how you want me to be, just how you expected or thought you needed me to be. Like, you need to be strong for you just as I need to be strong for my own self. And so yeah.
Exactly. If you're constantly trying to live up to someone's idea of you, you'll never you'll you'll never be exactly who they want.
Mm-mm.
Cuz at some point you're going to start being yourself. You're going to get tired, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to be like, "Ah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Burnt
A lot
out.
of work." I was like, people's idea of you, like, yeah, it's okay to have an opinion of me. That's fine, but I don't want your opinion of me to dictate how you think I am as a person. I want you to take who I am
Yeah.
at face value and by what I say and do, and then form an opinion. Don't place your expectations on me and expect me to live up to them, because that's just not realistic.
It's not. I'm like, you gotta live for you. You have to live who your individual self is. And that's something that I'm starting to notice with our society today. It's like, with influencer culture being as progressive as it is, I think people's individuality is starting to become lost on them. They no longer know how to be themselves, but they know how to be others, or be or have what other people have. So I challenge you guys all today to really sit with yourself for a little bit. It can be a little uncomfortable, it can be a little different, a little unfamiliar, but it's probably some of the best work that you will ever do, that your future self and even your present self now will appreciate, because you're getting to the core of who you are versus what people have tried to place their perceptions and expectations of you on. So sit with yourself a little bit sometimes. It doesn't have to be long. It can be throughout the week. But yeah, I challenge you guys all to, yeah, just sit with yourself. Ask yourself some really important questions, because we're all in a very kind of pivotal point of our lives. Sis, you're 18, I'm 21. So like, this
You're
is kind
20?
of like a 20.
You're
This
20?
is a good time. This is a good time to, kind of start piecing together who you would like to be, and that can only kind of start with asking yourself, who do you want to be?
Exactly. And also with that, like, if you're not self aware, just because you don't know why you do certain things, or you may not be aware of some of your actions, other people are.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't do the observation, somebody will call you out on it at some point. And sometimes it's better to just be like, okay, yeah, you pointed something out, but guess what? I already knew that. If you don't like it, that's okay. But that's me. And that's real. I don't know. It's important to sit with yourself because people do notice things about you. You are always being perceived as long as you're being around people.
That's
Someone
true.
is going to have an idea because you're not able to watch your behavior.
Mm.
You can't watch yourself. Other people can. So, reflecting on your actions is really the only way you can really begin to really understand how you interact with other people and why you do the things that you do, because you'll never be able to watch. You're not going to see your facial expressions. You're not going to see the cadence. You probably don't understand. You probably don't even pick up your own idiolect. That was a bonus word I learned the other day.
Intellect.
Idiolect. Learned that the other day. Had to throw that in there. Um,
Yes.
but it's like people notice the way that you talk. I've noticed that so much because I pick up lingo from TikTok all the time. I won't even lie, I do. And it's like I'll introduce a word to I'll say it to my friends a lot, and then all of a sudden, everyone in my friend group is saying it, and it's like that little reminder, like, oh, people are aware of what I do. So if other people are aware, I should be aware too. I should be aware too. That's all. I feel like everyone should have some sense of awareness of themselves, and I think it's important, especially as you mature and you grow up. And it's a big. I feel like being aware of yourself is very important for loving yourself. I feel like that's a big important step in that. So you know,
Yes, I agree. I agree. All right, everyone, we have one final question for today. And it is, how would you like to show love to yourself today?
by letting myself rest. You know, we live in a time where it's so easy to get caught up and constantly feeling like you need to be working, like you need to be busy, like you need to be putting an effort into something. And it's like, if you stop to take a nap or if you stop to sit down for too long, oh, you're lazy, you're not doing anything, you know, you're just wasting your time. But it's like, your brain is not working efficiently if it's tired. Your body is not working efficiently if it's tired. You know, you do
Mm-hmm.
burn out. People burn out. It happens all the time, and it's something that's becoming more talked about now, but it's still not very common. But I mean, for me personally, I've had to learn to be okay taking a break and taking a rest. Like, it's so not having a routine is very difficult for me. I found out because I feel like I have no. It's easy to lose a sense of purpose when you don't really feel like you're doing anything. And so I just kind of I've had to become okay with taking that time to replenish myself because it is okay to take a break, you know, to get some rest when you're tired.
We need it.
We need it. That's why we sleep every single night because our bodies need rest, our minds need rest. And it's not a bad thing to want it, and it's not a bad thing to need it. So, you know, I let myself go take a little lie down in my bed.
Little
Like
Napsy.
my I like my room time. I call it like hanging out in my habitat, you know, my enclosure, taking a little nap, sitting there watching YouTube videos or something. You know, just take time for myself, separating myself from other people. You know, putting down my phone, putting it on do not disturb, and just being with myself because I like myself and I love myself enough that I enjoy spending time by myself. It doesn't feel lonely anymore, which is something that has come with rest. And I've definitely had issues with being alone, but now I don't mind it. I actually very much enjoy my free time. I enjoy spending time by myself. I'm like, I think I'm really funny. I can say whatever I want to say. Nobody's gonna cancel me. You know, I'm always right. When it's just me, I'm always right. You know.
Yes.
Uh, that's just me. But what about you? What about you, sis?
One way that I can show love to myself today is doing away with old patterns, old thoughts, old ways of being. I feel like in a lot of ways I'm ushering in a new season of my life. Like I'm being called to something else that old patterns, old ways, and old thinking is not going to sustain or be satiated in this new level of my life. And so today I want to show love to myself by getting rid of that. Like we talked about earlier, stomping them out, those intrusive thoughts as soon as they come in, letting them go and realizing that I am in the present. I am here right now. It is August 17th, 2023, and thoughts from 2021, 2022, they're gone. They're gone. They're not here
Don't exist
anymore.
anymore.
They're gone. So today I want to show love to myself by just doing away with the old and really celebrating and ushering in this new season of my life. This is answered prayer season, and I won't lie, I get like a little intimidated by new things, but it's only because like I've been so familiar. with other things. So um, it's all baby steps, but I'm very grateful um, to just live in what has been asked for. And I'm just ready to do away with the old.
That's real. It's no, it's one step at a time.
One
Every
step.
single day. It's just one day at a time. That's all you get. You just
That's
get the
it.
one day. Nothing is promised.
Nothing.
You get your one day that you wake up to. What are you gonna do with it?
What are you going to do with it? Sis, thank you so much for sitting down on the podcast, the GAWSY Podcast today. Thank
Thank you
you
for
for
having
your
me.
insights and your wisdom and sharing your experience in this space with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Had a good time. Would do again. 10 out of 10 recommend.
10 out of 10. Thank you, Gauzy readers, so much for listening. Be sure to check out our former Gauzy podcast episodes. Let us know how you feel in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.